This offseason has been crazy. Multiple players are getting max deals. Like Zach LaVine got a max deal, Zion got a max deal, Ja Morant got a max deal, Jalen Brunson got a $110 million contract with the New York Knicks. And then we hear like Kyrie was trying to get traded from the Brooklyn Nets, but now he opted in to his player option. And then now we hear that KD actually requested a trade out of Brooklyn. Oh my God. And I don't know where team is going to pick him up. And then we hear like Gobert got traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's one of the biggest news of this offseason. The Minnesota Timberwolves actually didn't give up a lot to get a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert, because they gave up 5 future first rounders that we don't even know who they're gonna be, but the players that they gave up were okay. But the Minnesota Timberwolves got an incredible defender in Rudy Gobert. We're gonna try and take a look at the Minnesota Timberwolves and see if this trade actually makes them better, or to better say, title contenders for the next season. So let's get right into it and find out. The new starting lineup that the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to have the next season is looking kind of dangerous. D'Angelo Russell running at the point, Anthony Edwards at the 2, Jaden McDaniels at the 3, Cat at the 4 now, and Gobert playing the 5. This arguably gives them one of the best starting 5 in the NBA right off the bat. And we cannot forget the fact that now with Gobert and Towns, they're going to have arguably one of the best 1-2 big man punch in the NBA. Like if they play those two people, like those two players at the same time, teams are going to be forced to play big. Like, yo, think about the Golden State Warriors. If the Golden State Warriors go small and then you put Gobert and Towns to play against them, like the Warriors are going to be forced to play Kevon Looney the whole time probably. But that's just a speculation, we don't really know. Gobert is already a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He already made the first team All Defensive Team 6 times, and he did it for 6 straight seasons. And then he made the All-Star game also for 3 consecutive times in the last 3 seasons. And we cannot forget the fact that he is an easy 15 points, 14 rebounds a game. Like, he'd be putting up those numbers while sleeping. You know what I mean? His main thing is defense. Defense. I understand that he gets a lot of hate for not being a great offensive player, but this guy is one of the best defensive players that the NBA has had. I know he gets a lot of hate for that also, but I like this guy a lot. I like the way he plays defense. I understand that in the playoffs it doesn't really show. I have some stats that really intrigue me just to let you know how good he actually is. So, Gobert, when he was on the floor, the Utah Jazz had a defensive rating of 104, which would make them one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. But the moment that he was off the floor, the Utah Jazz had a defensive rating of 112, which makes them a mediocre defensive team. So that means that Gobert alone can make a mediocre defensive team into one of the best defensive teams in the NBA when he's on the floor. So I wouldn't be really surprised if the Timberwolves will have one of the best defense coming up in the next season, because last season they had the 13th best defense in the NBA. So I'm pretty sure like Gobert is probably going to put them right there in the top 4, top 5 in defense in the NBA. And that's just how good Gobert's impact on defense is. And he's going to take so much of Towns and the whole Timberwolves team because of his impact on defense. Like now Towns doesn't really need to worry about them paint no more. Rowe helping against penetration and cleaning up at the rim, because that was always getting him in foul trouble. But now that Gobert is going to be on the Minnesota Timberwolves, Towns is not going to be so much in foul trouble like it happened in the play-in tournament this season, the season that passed. So because of that, Towns is going to be able to focus more on his offensive side of the game. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Towns would actually have an MVP caliber season next season, because we keep forgetting that he's a great offensive player. Did you know that he shot 41% from 3 last season? 41% from 3, that's crazy. And he's shooting a career 39% from 3. And among all active players, that ranks 17th in the NBA. And then like, just look at this. He's ahead of CJ McCollum, Kyrie Irving, and Chris Middleton. And he's actually the only center to be in the top 25. my God, this guy is going to be good next season because he doesn't need to be focusing on defense. And we know, like, let's say Curry and Klay Thompson, what was the main thing about them when they were like before KD joined them, you know? Or let's say even KD, what was the main thing about them? Let's say Curry can focus a lot on offense and Klay will defend the best perimeter player, right? So Curry was focused more on offense and was able to do a lot of more things. And let's talk about KD real quick. When KD was on the Warriors, he was so good on defense because he was incredible on defense. When he was with the Golden State Warriors, those were his best defensive years. Think about it like this. He had Curry, who's a great offensive player, Klay Thompson, who's a great offensive player. So he didn't really need to try to score a lot and focus a lot of energy about that. You know, I'm talking about KD. So that's why he was able to be one of the best defenders in the NBA those 2-3 years he was with the Warriors. So the same thing is going to happen to Towns. Now that Gobert's going to be there, Towns going to be going crazy on the offensive side of the game and he's going to have an MVP caliber season. I must say it right now. Karl-Anthony Towns will have an MVP caliber season coming up. Yo, just watch out. And I haven't even mentioned Anthony Edwards. Like he's getting better still. This guy, man, oh my God. Like in a couple years, I'm gonna say it too. In a couple years, he's gonna be a top 5 player in the NBA. I really, really believe that he's gonna be a top 5 NBA player in a couple years. And it could happen next year. He could make that leap and be on par with Karl-Anthony Towns. Because last season, it really showed like sometimes it felt like it was Karl-Anthony Towns' team. Sometimes it felt like it was Anthony Edwards' team. But I will probably say like next season, Karl-Anthony Towns need to take the reign and lead them. Because Anthony Edwards is still a little young, but if he makes that leap that I believe he could make, oh my God, watch out. Oh my God, the NBA better watch out because the Minnesota Timberwolves is going to be the team that's going to surprise everyone coming up next season. And I can't forget the fact like Anthony Edwards was putting up incredible numbers already last season. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, almost 2 steals while shooting 44% from the field and 35% from 3. That's already incredible. And he's only been in the league for like 2 years. That's incredible. And then his third year is going to be even better. He's going to be more efficient. He's going to know how to draw more fouls because right now he's only averaging like 4 free throws a game. So if he can bump that number up to like 8 to maybe 10 free throws like the elite players do, oh my God, he's going to be right there with the 25 points a game. And that's going to take the Minnesota Timberwolves to the next level. So, like I said, the NBA needs to watch out because those 2 players are coming, and it's all thanks to Gobert trying to take the burden away from the defensive side of the game. So those 2 players are going to focus on offense. And I can't forget the fact that they have a deep bench also. Like their bench is looking like this. Jalen Noel, Kyle Anderson that they acquired through free agency, Taurean Prince, Nas Reed, Wendell Moore, and J-Mac. Come on, man. That's pretty deep to me. Like those players are really, really good. Those players are gonna help that team be deep also. So I'm telling ya, man, the Minnesota Timberwolves are looking kind of good. Like I'm not gonna say right now title contenders, but if I had to say, let me think about it real quick. We got the Golden State Warriors that won the championship. They're gonna be good next season. The Dallas Mavericks are gonna be good next season. I mean, now they got Christian Wood. Then we look at, let's say, the Los Angeles Clippers. They're going to be better next season. Kawhi's coming back. Paul George. The Denver Nuggets, you have Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back on the team, so they're looking good too. The Phoenix Suns are probably going to be good, but I don't trust on them next season. I feel like Chris Paul is not going to be the same no more. Slowly, he's getting too old, and it's going to show next season. So who else? The Los Angeles Lakers, I'm not really sure what they're going to do. So right now, I don't even consider them one of the top 8 teams in the West. Who else? Damian Lillard's coming back next season, so the Portland Trail Blazers are going to be in the mix. So, like, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be in the mix, but I feel like the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be right there in that mix. And I must say, right now, my prediction will be that they're going to end up with the 5th seed in the Western Conference. That's already good. If you can end up with the 5th seed in the West, that's good. But I want to talk about the Utah Jazz real quick because I don't know what they're doing. It just seemed like they are in a rebuilding mode. The first thing they did was, Snyder exited as a coach. Quinn Snyder, he exited and didn't want to be the head coach no more for the Utah Jazz. So that was really like a red flag. And then the Utah Jazz signed a 34-year-old head coach. He was an assistant coach for the San Antonio Spurs at one point, or not an assistant. He was just an assistant for the San Antonio Spurs. But for the Boston Celtics, he was also, I think, the assistant coach for them, and he helped them make it all the way to the finals last season. So he's only 34 years old, I think. He's really young, the new head coach that the Utah Jazz are gonna have. So it's I'm not really sure what they're trying to do. Are they really trying to go all out and trade, all their pieces? They already did Rudy Gobert, and now probably they're looking for Donovan Mitchell. The speculations are that he's gonna end up with the Miami Heat. That would be crazy. And I just want to give credit when credit is due. Quinn Snyder was a great head coach. Great head coach. He actually led the Utah Jazz to 108 games above 500 in the last 6 seasons. That's crazy. The Utah Jazz were always one of the best teams in the regular season, but when it came to the playoffs, they just couldn't get over the hump. They were always getting knocked out in the first round or the second round. They couldn't make it past those teams. It was crazy. It was just really disappointing. And then the questions were always coming up can Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert actually coexist and win a championship together, win a ring together or something? Because they were always getting, bounced out of the playoffs, always in the first round or the second round. And it was not even great teams. I think this season they got knocked out by the Dallas Mavericks. And they were great. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. But what I mean is they had Luka Doncic, right? The Dallas Mavericks had Luka Doncic, but he was hurt actually the first 3 games. And Donovan Mitchell should have been able to take over. He should have been able to take over and have the Jazz up at least 2-1. But it didn't happen like that. It actually was the other way around. Jalen Brunson showed up and was going crazy against the Utah Jazz. I think he had maybe 2 30-point games before game 3. In those 3 games, he already had 2 30-point games, and he led the Dallas Mavericks to a 2-1 lead against over the Utah Jazz. So that was crazy. I can't keep forgetting the fact that they were just always disappointing the whole time. So maybe the Utah Jazz are doing the right thing or not. We don't know that yet. Only future is gonna tell. Especially those 5 first-round picks that they got now is gonna really say if they are gonna be good or not, if that trade was actually good or not. But my God, I can't forget that Quinn Snyder was a great coach. He did a great job, and he probably gonna have a job again in the NBA. And it was his own decision to, quit on the Utah Jazz. He already knew what was going on. I think he already knew that the Utah Jazz are trying to go full rebuilding mode, and he didn't want to be part of it. But yeah, man, while looking at all of these things, I really feel the Minnesota Timberwolves won this trade. I really do feel because now Towns and Anthony Edwards are going to keep getting better for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You know what I mean? And they got to go all in. They got to go all in on the Minnesota Timberwolves. They had to do that. If they didn't do this trade, then I don't know what they were going to be doing, because they need to win now. They cannot be thinking let's win in 5 years or 10 years. No, you got 2 players that can be top 5 in the NBA in the future. Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and you actually have D'Angelo Russell, who can be a top 20 player in the NBA any given night. So you got to go all out and try to have the best possible team to win a championship. So I feel the Minnesota Timberwolves won this trade, but only the future is going to tell that. A lot of people are saying the Utah Jazz won this because Rudy Gobert is really expensive, $200 million for the next 4 years, I think it is. It is a lot of money, but you got to look at it from the Minnesota Timberwolves' eyes. They need to win now. They haven't had a lot of successful seasons in the last 20 years, so they got to look at this now and be we got to win now. And I feel they did the right thing. But you let me know down in the comment section if you think they didn't, or if they should have never traded for Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? Because I think they did the right thing. And watch out, man. Next season, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to give some trouble to a lot of NBA teams. Watch out. So yeah, man, let me know what you guys think, if I'm wrong or if I'm right, or what should I talk about next. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.